Hello students, today we are here to discuss about a very important topic in this chapter called technology and technology transfer. Before we move on, it is important for us to understand the meaning of the word technology. Technology is a knowledge of method to perform certain tasks or solve problems pertaining to products or services, which means technology is a knowledge which is used to put certain tasks or services to practical use, making it appropriate, making it to the point and for the common welfare of the people. The information on product design, product techniques, quality assurance measures, human resource development and management system for the basic elements of technology continuum. Now, after understanding the meaning of the word technology, we need to understand what is technology transfer and why it is needed. Basically, technology can be invented or can be started in any part of the world who are so-called the advanced countries. But technology is something which cannot be limited to just one place. It is invented at one place and then it is spread out to the entire world. Now, this process of spreading out the technology from one part of the world to the entire world is known as technology transfer. Why it is needed? That's certainly a question. Technology is basically used to help human beings have an improved life or a more comfortable life. And to have a more comfortable life is the basic right of any human being. Keeping that in mind, if an effective technology is invented in any part of the world, it is our responsibility to spread that out throughout the universe for everybody to be able to use it. That is the main idea why we do technology transfer from one place or one part of the world to the other parts of the world. The complexity of technology transfer depends on the nature of industry, technical and commercial aspect involved, technology levels and preparedness of the transferee and recipient. So, there are basically 4 factors on which the success of technology transfer depends. What are those 4 things, 4 main important points? Number 1, the nature of the industry. First, we need to understand what technology are we transferring, related to which industry. Once we know the complexity of the industry we are talking about or the industry concerned, then we can take the right measures and the right steps to transfer the technology from one place to another. Second, it is technical and commercial aspect involved. Technical, definitely there are certain machines and machinery parts which are very difficult from one place to the other if we want to move them. So, if it is an immovable machine or it is an immovable component, then it is extremely difficult for people to move that around to different places for different people to take benefit of it. So, we have to understand the technical part of it, if it is actually feasible or not, and then comes the commercial part. If the other person or the other country can afford to buy this technology, it is good. If they are not affordable, if they are not good enough for the other countries to buy, then probably that country will be debarred off that particular technology. So, we have to keep the commercial aspects in mind, we cannot skip that totally. The next important aspect would be technology levels and preparedness of transferee and recipient. Sometimes technology is given to something or somebody or to some country, which country is not at all prepared to accept a high end technology at that point of time. If that is done, if the transfer of technology is done during that period of time, then it will be a sheer waste of technology, as the recipient is not in a state to accept and use the technology in a better way. Both technical documentation and training are important in the technology transfer system. Technology transfer, being an expensive and time consuming process, has to be carefully planned and monitored by agencies like corporate planners, industrial engineers and quality assurance engineers to improve the effectiveness of transfer. So, these are the three categories of people who are involved in the technology process, so that it can be done in a very smooth way. Now, the next important topic that we need to discuss would be mechanisms of technology transfer, that is, how the technology can be transferred from one place to the other. Now, very simply put, if we want to move around technology, there could be two ways of doing that. First, it could be commercial, and second, it could be non-commercial. Non-commercials are those where people go to some other countries, people attend seminars and conferences, and they learn about the technology in that country, and they come back to their mother country using that technology and making the life of their own countrymen a little better. Technology is transferred from one country to another through a wide variety of mechanisms. As I already have mentioned, there could be non-commercial means, which are: number one, flow of books, that is by giving out books to other countries so that they can learn about the technology; flow of journals and other published information through which the other country can get to know about the recently discovered or invented technology. Next, exchange of information through persons attending international seminars and conferences. If somebody goes to some other country to learn about a particular technology by attending a seminar or a conference, that could be another possibility. Third, education and training at foreign universities. So, if a student or a scholar takes a training or attends a training in some foreign university, then they can get to learn about the technology being used there. Next, it could be exchange of information or person through technical cooperation programs of international organizations. Sometimes certain institutions and organizations have a student exchange program, like one university would allow their students to go to some other university in some other country and learn the technology there, and their students would come to our university to learn whatever or however the work is done here in our country. So, this way there could be an exchange of students, exchange of scholars, which can lead to great upgradation of knowledge when it comes to technology. Now, after the non-commercial ones, we shall concentrate on the commercial means of technology transfer, how it can be sold commercially. Number one, direct investments by foreign companies and multinationals. So, there are big companies, there are big names, big brands, big multinationals who can sometimes directly invest for a better technology. They can spend a lot of money for it. So, that is like you are directly buying technology from some other country. Number 2, licensing agreements, like certain big brands, they have their own product patented. So, if you want to buy that product, you need to buy a licensed agreement, you need to make a licensed agreement with the company, and you can use their technology for a given certain period of time. And third would be management contract, technical services, consultancy and collaboration agreements. So, these are a few methods of commercially transferring the technology where there is an exchange of money between the two countries. Now, how is this technology transfer process is done? Technology transfer is a difficult process. There are special problems and issues associated with each aspect of the technology transfer process. During this entire process of transferring technology, there are many challenges involved. Now, we have to learn about the challenges and we have to learn how to come out or overcome the challenges. The first stage is selection of technology and transfer. Before we move into or before we jump into the technology transfer process, we need to understand what is the exact requirement of our state. If we know what we need, then probably we can plan and get the right technology selected for us. These need basically technical expertises to evaluate and determine the suitability of technology and consideration of social and cultural background and present status of technology. So, seeing the present status of technology in the area, we can think about further upgradation of the technology that is about to take place. The second phase of technology transfer process is absorption. Absorption, here the word means research and development. So, if I am getting something into my country from some outside country, then it needs to be customized or tailor made according to the requirements in our country, because every country has got its separate individual needs. If I am buying a technology from some other country and getting it to our country, then our needs and circumstances would be different from the mother company. So, what happens is like we need to customize the technology according to our needs, and to be able to customize it, we need to go for a research and development in our country, so that it can be cut made and it can be tailor made according to our requirements. This phase of research and development is called absorption, which will be done by the country who is owning the technology from some other foreign country. Next, quality needs to be built at every stage of technology transfer process, and it must be considered by all the concerned and the planning engineer, marketing, etc. That quality must be given proper importance right from the early stages of technology transfer. So, the entire technology transfer process, the quality throughout the process needs to be monitored. There should be certain people who are experts into it. They would look into the matter that the entire quality assurance is done from the beginning till the end. The application of new and modern technology may bring in its wake productivity gains, unless this is matched with new investment, diversification, additional share of markets or creation of new markets. There is danger of loss of jobs temporarily till new jobs are created. This is true. As time pass on, we can see that things are becoming more and more machinized these days. Whatever used to be manual a few years back has now become totally machine made these days. So, as a result, more and more people are losing their jobs because their requirements are now less. we are relying more into machines and products which can be made in bulk and with perfection, I would say. Now, in such a scenario, if technology takes over the entire man job, then probably it is not very far that human beings will have nothing to do, and more unemployment would settle in the country who is using more and more technology. Now, technology is a never ending process. It can always be improved, it can always be made better. So, what is important is we cannot stop the use of modern machines and technologies in our country, but at the same time we can always strive to find better opportunities for the people of the country by making them skilled, by making them knowledgeable, and by putting them into research and development, so that these machines which are already in use, they can be made better through the research made by the countrymen. Now, as we have understood about technology and technology transfer, we need to understand the problems and the challenges of technology transfer. There are many challenges and they are pretty apparent from the beginning of it. For example, the technology is of little significance to competitive advantages. This world is a competitive place nowadays. Every company or every country rather is striving to do better, and so that they can rule over the rest of the world. Now, technology, if it is common, if it is everywhere, then everybody would be in a same position. So, there is always a want to do better, a want to do more research, so that they can be one step ahead of the other countries. This might sound interesting, but at the same time this could be very serious. When everybody becomes too competitive or over competitive, it can be of a serious threat. Number 2, the supplier has proprietary technology. The supplier who is supplying the technology has the basic concept of it. They are selling the concept, and the rest of the countries are buying the concept, thinking that would be applicable in their own countries in their own way. So, the further research and development needs to be done by the country who is buying the technology. So, continuous strive for better research and development is always required. The supplier's technology is better and or cheaper and reasonably easy to negotiate into current system. So, the supplier who is supplying you the technology would be supplying you in the form of a crude form, in the form of a very basic form, and then you have to customize and tailor made the technology according to your own requirements and your own needs in your country. The technology development process requires special expertise. This entire transfer of technology is not a very easy task. Many people are involved into it. There should be skilled knowledge and sound knowledge about that particular technology, how that needs to be taken care of, how that can be used, and how it can be disastrous if not used properly. So, it needs a lot of expertise and skills. The technology development process requires new people and new resources. Here, resource means, we mean basically manpower, that is human resource. Since India is a country where there is a lot of people who are skilled, unskilled and semi-skilled, so it is up to us how we use the technology, how we earn it, and then how we make our people learn and knowledgeable about the technology that we have brought, and then how we can use it for the benefit of our common people. Next, decision of management on product innovation process and innovation. So, decision of the management of product innovation, that if the management do not decide to do upliftment in the mode of technology, then it would become very difficult, because the management needs to agree that any technology that is brought from outside needs to be upgraded and tailor made. So, the management has to say yes or give a green signal to the people, and the rest of the company and the research and the development team specifically would take care on the research part of the technology. Now, when we talk about technology transfer, there is again a thing that comes in mind, that is, technology means machines, and human beings and machines always had a problem, and which is a long old problem pertaining since old ages. Now, we have to understand what are the basic problems of man and machine interaction. To name them, the first one is inadequate training received by the operator. So, the person who is operating a machine is, if he or she is unskilled himself or herself, then it would be almost impossible for the person to carry on with the operations of the machine, no matter how modern the machine is, but it will be of absolutely no use because the operator cannot use it efficiently. Number 2, both attitude and morale of the worker are at poor levels. This is very unfortunate that in India, people really do not love the work they perform. They always feel they are working either because they have to run a family or because they have to work. They do not work for the love of the work. That is why their morale is always down, and they do not enjoy the process of work or whatever they do. Most of them feel that they are at the wrong point, doing the wrong thing which they were not meant to do. 3, poor upkeep of the machine. Buying an expensive machine does not end there. You need to maintain the machine and you need to keep it in good condition. So, if there is poor maintenance, then probably no matter how expensive or modern or upgraded the machine is, it will stop its productivity, it will stop its efficiency in a few years down the lane, because everything that we buy needs a proper maintenance. Next, poor industrial relations. Here, the companies who are working with each other, or rather competing with each other in the market, they do not have a very healthy competition among themselves. The day they start having healthy competition, probably one would always want to do better than the other. But here the competition is literally unhealthy in a third world country like India. So, as a result, the machines which are brought from outside world, which are doing fantastic in their countries, fail to prove a point in our own country, and the whole lot of money that is invested in purchasing the machine is simply a waste. Next, poor supervisory control. There should be somebody who is not only operating the thing, there should be someone who is even better, an expert who can supervise the control of the machine. Now, here in India, the supervisory control is literally absent. Absence of incentives for higher productivity, etc. In India, people only work for money. They generally do not work for work satisfaction. Now, as a result, if people are money minded, if they need money, in certain situations, if you expect the employee to work overtime and extra time so that the utility of the machine can be made properly, and if this person is not paid any extra money or incentive for that, then obviously the person would not be very happy working for extra hours, and after a certain level he or she will deny working for extra hours. So, incentives and giving overtimes to employees is again a very important thing that needs to be considered by the management. Next, physical and mental fitness of the worker also influence the man-machine interaction. If you have a healthy body and a healthy mind, you can give your 100% to the job that you are performing. But in case you are in a situation where you do not have a good health, or you do not have a good mind, then you are not giving your 100% to the company that you are working, you are not doing justice to the work you are performing, and whatever effort you are putting in, that is all in vain. Next, the moral greatly influence the man-machine interaction. See, as we all know that any person can learn anything if there is a willpower to learn that particular thing. Similarly, in India, since the illiteracy rate is high, here more and more people are unskilled. In such situations, people are forced to do work at certain situations, and forced work can be continued for just a given period of time, not for the entire lifetime. So the attitude and the moral of the people of India needs to be uplifted and elevated so that they can give a better performance to the company. Poor working conditions such as improper ventilation and insufficient light also affect the man-machine interaction. This is also a very valid point which we cannot ignore. In India, the factories and the manufacturing companies that we see, they are not very well ventilated, they are not very well airy, they are not maintained. As a result, they do not provide a healthy environment for the people working there. As a result, all the people working there fall sick, and mostly they do not give their 100% because they are physically not taken care of. And the last point is improper workload, which we all have noticed in India. There is a group of people who work day and night, and there is a group of people who do not do anything at all. So as a result, there is uneven distribution of workload, and people do not give their best, most of them, and people who love working, they are given so much of workload that they cannot handle it. Eventually they leave the job, or they leave working with a full heart on. So there should be a balance, there should be a parity when the work is distributed among employees. Thank you so much, students, for listening to this piece. Thank you.